Hello and welcome to Season 1, Episode 7 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up in today's episode, I've got a live comm of the away game against AFC Fylde. And as you can see by that little league table at the bottom of the screen there, we're having something of a recovery. We've recaptured top spot after the disappointment of the last game. I'm just going to recap the last few matches and then we'll get straight into that live comm. So, the last game you were with me for was a 0-0 home draw against Stalybridge. Really disappointing game. We just didn't create anything. On the plus side, we didn't really look like conceding any goals at any point. But we just didn't create anything at all going forward, and it was becoming a little bit of a worry. There were several matches in a row where we had this problem, and as a result of that game, we did actually drop off top spot in Conference North for the first time all season long, and it is not the time in the middle of February to be losing top spot in the division. It was a bit of a worry, especially going into the next game we had a double header against AFC Telford. I tried something a little bit new for the double header against AFC Telford. Changed the formation up a little bit. Decided to drop Dele Adebola. Yes, he's had a good season, but when we're not scoring, I thought, what's the point in having two strikers on the pitch who aren't really scoring? Let's try and create something a little bit deeper. Try and create a few more chances. So with Lionel Stone coming back into the side, we were able to move Scott Garner back into midfield, and rather than dropping Ben Marlow, who's been playing quite well, I decided to just go with the five-man midfield, go for the 4-2-3-1 formation, move Kyle Dixon a little bit further forward. He's been playing as an advanced playmaker a little deeper all season long, and by going to this system, it allowed us to play both Kane Felix and Jack Hartley as out-and-out wingers, rather than having one of them sort of restricted in the wide midfielder role that we've been using in our 4-4-2. It didn't really work though. We had another 0-0 home draw. We still had a lot of possession, but we actually created less chances than we had been in recent games. It was a 0-0, a bit disappointing. We played quite well, but again, didn't really create anything for Southwell. We tried that system again in the away game 4 days later against AFC Telford. Didn't really create much again. We had Kane Felix had a cracking game playing as a more advanced player. He scored the opener, putting us 1-0 up, but we conceded just before half-time to make it 1-1. And then with 20 minutes to go, we actually switched to a 4-4-2 with a slight variation on the 4-4-2, playing with Felix and Hartley as wingers, and with Kyle Dixon a little bit deeper in a central midfielder role, and we went on to win the game 3-2. Problem was, we lost our goalkeeper in that game. Alex Scott has fractured his arm, which is a bit of an issue for a goalkeeper, I think. He's going to be out for a month, and we don't really have much in the way of a backup goalkeeper. Jason Alexander isn't really that great and did concede a horrific goal in that game when he came off the bench, but so much. I spent the week looking for a replacement keeper. There just isn't one, so we are going to have to go with Alexander, I think. Just can't find a goalkeeper to come in who is either good enough or willing to come and join the club. So we're going with Alexander, down to just the one goalkeeper, and he's young and untried. But we went back to the 4-4-2. For the game again at home to Worcester, and Dale Southwell back on form, picking up a hat-trick. We played really well and kind of resettled on the 4-4-2, but with the slight variation of it, with the wingers and Kyle Dixon playing in a slightly deeper role, and that seems to be working at the moment. So board still very happy. Same message we've been getting for a little while now, and that's the league table going into today's game. So we're back on top with, I think there's 10 games left. 2 points clear with 10 games left. Player-wise, we're still doing really, really well. Dale Southwell is second in the goal scorer charts, bearing in mind he missed 4 months of the season. He's been doing really well, and if he carries on as he is, could end up the top goal scorer in the division, playing just over half of the games, which would be a fantastic return. Kyle Dixon is well in the lead as the best average rating in the division, and Southwell is joint second as well. And Kane Felix still second on assists. So player-wise, doing really, really well. But let's get into the game. If we have a look at the slight change to the tactic and just show you what we are doing now. So we've got Dixon playing slightly deeper as a central midfielder rather than an attacking midfielder, and it allows us to play Hartley and Felix as proper attacking wingers. I've moved Felix over to the right-hand side. He is right-footed. He's been playing as a left winger all season. I've been playing him on the left purely because that was where we had our attacking winger. But when they're both playing as out-and-out wingers, Hartley can play with either foot, and Felix is very right-footed. So rather than trying to have Felix pushing forward and cutting in from the right, we've got them both able to push forward and cross with their good foot. So hopefully will lead to a lot of chances created, and it gets Dele Adebola back in the side as well, who he's been having a good season. He's had a little bit of a rest now, and hopefully should pick up where he left off. So let's get into the game. We're not favourites for the game, but it's an away game, and they're playing a 4-3-3, which it's an interesting way they've got lining up. They've got their most attacking player on the right-hand side of their front three. I guess this guy here is going to be a target man, maybe, or a deep lying forward, I suppose. A poacher out on the right would be my guess, so he's going to be coming against Piagiani, and then some kind of other forward along there. And then they've got these three quite defensive-looking central midfielders who, if we're not careful, could outnumber our central midfield when we've got the two wingers pushing on. But we'll have to see how that develops as the game goes on. If we start to struggle in midfield, we always have that 4-2-3-1 that we can switch to try and get hold of the ball in the middle of the pitch again. So yes, we want to pick up where we left off because we played really well in the last game. So quite happy with that team talk from my assistant manager. And let's get into the match. So I'm hoping with Felix out on the right, he can really start whipping some crosses in for Adebola and Southwell. That's the plan. It's the first time I've played him on the right on this 4-4-2. So we're trying something a little bit different. He was on the left in the last game with Hartley on the right, but the whole thinking behind having him on the left for most of the season was that he'd score lots of goals from out there, but he hasn't really done that. He's created quite a lot, and hopefully will create even more on his right foot, but that's a problem. That's a cracking goal. And this is the issue we've got when we have such a poor goalkeeper on the pitch for us, that any kind of shot from anywhere is going to just fly in. And yeah, our keeper probably doesn't even move for this. Nowhere near. He's 6'7", that goalkeeper as well, so that looks like it was fairly straight at him, and you would expect him to just be able to palm that away, but that's a bit of a worry. And also, for the first time in a long time, as we highlighted before the game, we're actually fairly even possession. We're used to dominating possession, so this is a game where we might have to switch to that 4-2-3-1 sooner rather than later, just to try and get hold of the ball in the middle of the pitch if it doesn't sort of develop naturally as the game goes on. But we've got the ball here, Felix, and yeah, not quite as good on his right foot as I was hoping he would be. I don't even know what that was. Was it a shot? Was it a cross? We are starting to get a little more possession now. Oh, we've gone back up to first, even though we're losing. Excellent. We do need to get back into this game. No, there's only 10 games left. We really can't keep dropping points. It shows, I guess, how weak the division is as a whole, that we can be in the sort of poor form we've been in for probably 2 or 3 months now, really inconsistent form, and still be top of the league and in with a shout of automatic promotion. It's certainly not form you could get away with in, I don't know, League 1, League 2 as an example. But I'm certainly not going to complain about it. It just shows it's a fairly poor division that anyone with a run of games could get out of. We'll stick with the 4-4-2 probably for the first 15 minutes of the half, and if it doesn't start to create anything, we'll probably bring Adebola off and bring in an extra midfield player and go to the 4-2-3-1. We've had 8 shots, but not one of them's been on target yet. Dixon with the ball now out to Piagiani, who knocks it back to Yuga. We need to get the ball moving forward, though. That's a lump forward, though, to Adebola, and he doesn't get there. And we just need to get on the ball and play the football that I know we're capable of. And we just seem to be struggling to get on the ball. I think it is, as I say, that 3-man midfield they've got is just preventing us from having the space on the ball that we like to have. And that was a lucky escape. It was actually not a bad save from Alexander there. I was kind of expecting anything that comes at him to go in. Adebola with the ball now. Finds Felix out wide. Felix has got a lot of space here. If he can get the cross in, but for some reason cuts inside to Adebola, but it doesn't matter because Adebola has just cracked that in from the edge of the area, and that is not the kind of goal you expect to see from Dele Adebola. But not going to argue with that at all, and that's a lovely finish. Yeah, I don't ever remember seeing Adebola do that in real life, but not going to complain at all. Age 40, he has to add a little bit of something else to his game, and if that's what he's adding, I'm not going to complain. Now we're 1-1, and we are edging possession a little bit. I'm inclined to stick with the 4-4-2 for another 10 minutes to see if we... okay. Spoke too soon. See, now what do I do, though? Because Adebola's just scored a lovely goal. I don't really want to bring him off. Can't bring Southwell off because he is the main goal threat, although he's not having a particularly good game. And that is poor goalkeeping again. Alexander should be saving that. It's gone past him at the near post. He just has to stick his leg out, and that's a save. We'll give it a couple more minutes, and then we do need to make a change because we're used to controlling games and controlling possession, and this isn't happening today. Alright, come on lads, we need to get the ball here. They're just passing all over us in the centre of the park, and that's not what we're used to. Yuga wins the ball back. Can he find anyone in an orange shirt? No, Stone wins the ball, lumps it up to Adebola, and I don't want to be a team that just lumps it up to the big target man, and it seems to be that's what we're resorting to today, and 3-1 down, and this is a disaster. Right, we need to change things up, so we're going to go to the 4-2-3-1. We're going to have to move the players around a little bit. So Southwell's going to go up top. Adebola is going to be the player to miss out, unfortunately. Yeah, who have we got to bring on? We've got Marlowe and we've got Roberts. I think I'll bring Marlowe on for Adebola, and we'll leave it there for now. And hopefully this will just give us a bit of possession to allow us to try and get back into the game. But I've got a feeling that might be too little too late. 3-1 down. It's not a formation that's ever created a huge amount of goals for us. It's more about getting the possession, and oh dear, Alexander's positioning there is just horrific. And it'd be such a shame if our promotion push is lost because of the fact we don't have a backup goalkeeper. But that was just terrible. Right, come on, we need a goal here. We've got to start getting back into this game. Felix on the edge of the area. Fine. Well, it was a scramble in there. We've won a penalty, but Carl Piergiani's picked up an injury as well. That could be a bit of a problem because he's such an important player for us. We've got Grant Roberts on the bench who can come on and let Garner drop back into central defence, but that's not really a substitution we want to be making. Hopefully we can score the penalty though and find a way back into this match. It's Southwell with the penalty, and that's 3-2, 15 minutes to go. We're in with a shout, but there's always the danger that with Alexander in goal, they just need to hit us on the break. That's a lovely penalty though. Right, what can we do? We've got 10 minutes. We need to get back into the game. We haven't really got anything on the bench. We could bring Joey Johnson on. Who can we bring him on for though? Possibly even bring him on for Zach Mills, drop Roberts back to right back and go for sort of 4-2-4. I think that's what we're going to have to do. So if we stick Roberts back there, drop Dixon a little further back as well, swap those two over, and stick Johnson up front with Southwell. This is completely untried now. I'm going to swap them over actually because Southwell always plays on the left. So stick him as an attacking poacher. What are we going to do with Johnson though? I guess we make him a target man on support. And this could be brilliant or it could be terrible. Never played this formation before. Kind of wish I still had Dele Adebola on the pitch now instead of Joey Johnson. But come on, let's get back into the game. We'll switch to attacking. In fact, let's go overload. Why not? We've got 5 minutes left. We need a win. Or a draw, at least. We need to not lose the match. But nothing seems to be happening. And oh, can we get an equaliser here? It would be robbing them, really, if we did. But no, nothing coming. And unfortunately, this one's got to go down to the goalkeeper, I think. because two of those goals should never ever have been goals. But there's nothing we can do about that. There is no one to bring in to replace him, and that is a disappointing result. Yeah, it was disappointing. Yeah, let's tell him it's disappointing. That's fine. I'm happy with all that. And that is that. We are still top of the league, I think. Let's have a quick look at the league table. If the game ever rolls on to let us have a look at it. Yeah, we're still top of the league, but by 1 point now, with 9 games left to go. We'll see how we get on, I guess. If you've enjoyed that episode, pop a like, and then obviously make sure you subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss out on the next episode. We'll probably play 4 or 5 matches, and then come back for another live com, and then decide from there how I'm going to do the run into the season. Thanks very much for watching.